Hello and welcome to GMIHub Online. Today's topic, inspiration. Where to get it and how to turn it into a worship song. I'm your host, Cheryl Dewick, and this is my co-host, Dale
Borland. Thank you for joining us. You know, this is so cool. GMIHub Online live stream. This is our first kind of in-group kind of setting. We've got people in the house with us. It's really cool. I'll just let you know about we have social media. So right now we have platforms like Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. And thank you for watching right now. If you're watching the GMIHub Online, that is awesome. If you haven't already done so, please subscribe. And if you hit the notification bell, then you'll get a notification the next time we post a video. Also hit that like, that'd be great. That'd be fantastic. So check us out on the web, gmihub.ca. Now back to Cheryl.
With us tonight, we have one of Canada's multi-Covenant Award-winning contemporary worship singer, songwriter, and author, Brooke Nichols. Brooke released her first debut album in 2016 called Found in You, and then her second album was in 2019. It was called Pursue, and that album actually won 2 awards for a couple of songs. The title song won the Inspirational Song of the Year in 2019, and Turn My Eyes, which is also on the same album, won Praise and Worship Song of the Year for the Covenant Awards. Brooke was also named the Female Vocalist of the Year for not 1, not 2, but 3 years in a row, 2018, 2019, and 2020. Now, you may have heard of her latest release that she did with Movement Worship called Still, which is getting a lot of play on radio stations and online and all the different places that you can hear music online on Spotify and so forth. So we're just so thrilled to have Brooke with us. Welcome, Brooke. So glad you're here with us.
Yay!
Thank you.
Great. You know, I got a question just to start off, if that's okay. Where did you get started in your music? How did it start in your life? Where did it come from?
Yeah, I started singing when I was like a young girl. I didn't feel like I had a lot of hobbies. I wasn't really sporty, but I always took music lessons, like singing lessons, and I fought my mom real hard on piano lessons. And then I started singing in church, and yeah, I just never stopped.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Have you always had a drive to do worship music then because of this?
No, not at all, actually. I pursued pop music for like 7 years in my 20s. Getting in through the doors at Sony Music and just different music labels and stuff like that. And then I had a heart shift, and we can get into that later, and I traded everything pop music for Christian music.
Yeah. Well, that's great.
That's how she did it.
So that journey, you're traveling on this journey of trying to get yourself into a certain niche of music. Oh, what happened in your life? What was the reason for you saying, you know what, this is not the person I need to be. I want to change gears here. And I see that worship is where God wants me.
Yeah, so I was serving at a church in Burlington, Ontario at the time, and while I was pursuing pop music, with my whole being, and I was leading worship there, and people would come up to me like, Brooke, this is what you need to be doing, and I'd kind of be like, yeah, okay, that's not what I want to be doing, but thanks so much. And then, there's this verse in James 4:8 says, draw near to God and he will draw near to you. And that's kind of where things began to shift in my life. It says I became more mature in my walk with the Lord. As I just became closer to him, I could hear his voice more clearly. And he truly was calling me out of pop music into what I'm doing now. And when I was pursuing pop music, it was hard, but anything that is worth doing is hard, you know what I mean? And I always just thought that life is just hard. So, and I think now I recognize that was actually the Lord, really trying to push me in another way, or trying to he saved me. He rescued me from what could have been.
Yeah, so did anybody, I'm sorry, Cheryl, I'll keep it thinking. My mind's going, I'm thinking, what was your influences? Like, was there individuals, or was there bands, was there a person in your life that kind of was there to mentor you through that process?
Yeah, I wish I could say that there was someone there mentoring me through that process. In life, but at the time there wasn't, and I was kind of left to figure that out on my own. And I think that's probably why it took me as many years as it did, because yeah, I just had to figure it out on my own. But the Lord was with me the whole time. And again, like, I loved the Lord the whole time. You know, I was serving my church. I listened to Christian music, but it just wasn't what I wanted to do.
Okay, so my question is, who were your inspirations? So, yeah, who were your inspirations getting into worship music when you finally realized that that's where you're supposed to go?
Well, I have always loved Darlene Check. I feel like she's like the grandmother, and like, I don't know, she's probably not even old enough to be a grandmother. Well, maybe she is, but like, I feel like she's like the grandmother of worship to me. I remember as a young girl, I lived in Chatham, Ontario. I grew up there, which is like just an hour from Detroit. And so I would always go to different concerts and things happening in Detroit. And Hillsong came, and she was leading. And I can remember, even as like a young girl, standing in this crowd, and I didn't even know really what it meant to be in the presence of God at that time at such a young age. But I just knew it when I was at that specific concert in Detroit. I just knew that I wanted to do what this woman did. And again, I didn't even really know what that meant at the time. But then all these years later, it's like, here I am. And yeah, that's always a special memory. And she's a special worship leader to me.
Yeah, she's very, very powerful. I remember when she came up with a few of her songs, of course, was it Shout to the Lord, the one, when I hear the story about that, right? And she's just thinking, this is a song no one's going to want to hear, and it ends up being a hit.
That's right.
But, and she's got some other powerful songs. So you still listen to Darlene Check, or just, I guess it would be Hillsong, right?
There's a church with her husband now, but she put out some.
Oh, no, you're
Sorry,
good.
I'm muted?
You're fine now.
Oh, I'm good.
No.
Yeah, she left Hillsong a while ago and planted a church with her husband in New Zealand, actually. And so she put out a solo record. And of course, I'm like her biggest fan. So I'm still listening to Darlene Check.
Awesome. That's awesome. Okay, so I want to learn about your process here. So you have, first of all, where do you get your inspiration besides Darlene Check? Where else do you get your inspiration for your music?
Yeah, I mean, I get it from all over. I'm a firm believer that input equals output. And so whenever I'm feeling, inspirationless and just dry and, tired, I know that I need to pump myself with some input. And whether that's, listening to, podcasts, reading books. Actually, a book that I have on the go right now that I would recommend is The Reset by Jeremy Riddle. And, I always just feel like the Lord, when I dig into input, I always feel like the Lord, gives me the gift of output back.
Well, they do say what goes in has to come back out.
That's right.
Yeah, right.
As long as it's not garbage, and I don't think and Jeremy Riddle's not garbage. If you're hearing us, Jeremy, hey. Okay, so you get this information. So what's your process then? You get this inspiration, and then somehow you get these powerful songs. So what happens in the middle?
It's a great question. I always get asked, what comes first, the lyrics or the music? And for me, this is just my process. It's different every time. There's times where I just sit down at the piano and I'll just start, like, at the same time, things will come out here, they'll come out here, and I've got a thing. And then other times, I have an idea. So for example, I'll share with you, about 2 years ago, I had this like longing to be in heaven, face to face with Jesus, just worshiping around the throne, like crying out, like, hallelujah, holy, holy, holy. I just, this deep longing in my spirit. And I sat, it was so deep that I couldn't kick this feeling. Like, it was just so powerful. And I felt the Lord say to me, Brooke, you actually don't need to go to heaven to worship like that. Every time you come before me to worship, like, you're standing on holy ground, and you can encounter me and my presence every time you go to lead worship, every time you open your mouth to worship. And so I sat with this in my head for a long time, and I knew I needed to write a song about it. And I'll be honest, when I say a long time, I sat with it for like 2 years trying to figure out how to make this into a song. And then finally, I was able to, so I took that and I went and I pulled scripture of, Revelations, where there's around the throne room and they're crying, holy, holy, holy to the one who was and is. And I started pulling all this scripture and I put it all together. And once I had this idea and scriptures, and I started to write, and it started to come out, like, it started to really, become a thing. And I was able to just record that song. But it was a 2-year process for me. And I think some people think that, these things happen like in like one session, like you sit down and 2 hours later you have this like piece of gold, but it doesn't always happen that way. I mean, for some, maybe it does, but that's never my experience.
Yeah. So do you have a certain technique of singing or writing? Like, do you sit there and think, I need to tell a story, or I need to paint a picture with words? Or do you think to yourself, well, I got to make sure that I've got the bridge and the chorus, and what is your thought process? Do you want to have a verse, chorus, bridge, or does it matter?
To me, because I want people, I write 2 kinds of songs. I write these like inspirational songs, for my last record. Most of those songs are inspirational. Like, you wouldn't take them into a church and lead them. But I still want people to be able to follow along with them and be able to sing along to them and not get lost. So I do keep it, verse, sometimes a pre-chorus, chorus, verse, chorus, bridge, chorus kind of thing. So I always have a set structure for sure. And it's funny because I always find those second verses come so hard to me. I can always get a first verse, but then when I go to write my second verse, I'm like, I feel like I already said all that I wanted to say in my first verse. So I have to like really, really dig deep for that second verse.
I have a technique that you can take the first verse and you just expand upon those and make it into 2 verses, and then you can split those first and second verse. That's a good idea for some of those who haven't got any concept of how to write a song. If you've got a great theme, stick to that theme and then expand upon it. Yeah.
Well, you normally write songs on your own, is that right?
Have you ever collabed?
I filter them through my husband, who's like really, really hard on me. So he tells me right away if it's good or bad. And yeah, and I do love to co-write, but I find making the time for co-writing actually like just a lot harder. So I find I do write a lot on my own.
Commercial break, but so far this has been a great conversation. We're going to get into more meat and potatoes, but let's go to our commercial and we'll be right back after this.
Are you writing a Christmas song? Do you want it on our Christmas CD? This year, send us your song for your chance on the CD. Submission deadline July 31st, 2022. Family Christmas Volume 3, Christmas 2022.
Compilation coming out next Christmas is going to be your songs, submissions, gmihub.ca. Submit your song today, and you might be on our compilation CD for this Christmas.
I know. That'd be so
We're on
exciting.
our third one. Can you believe this? We've done 3 of these. Well, this is the third one coming up. It's going to be so cool.
It will be. And maybe after this conversation, we'll have other compilations coming up.
Maybe. Yeah, we were talking about other things too, but don't let that cat out of the bag. We're good.
Okay. Let's get back, Brooke.
Yeah, let's get back to Brooke, yes. Now, Brooke, you have written some Christmas music as well. I've enjoyed listening to some of your tracks. Really good stuff. If you ever get an idea, put another song together, and you want to submit it towards the GMI Hub, that would be something we would consider.
Oh, just slightly.
Ever so slightly.
Actually, I am curious about something. Your latest song, Still. Tell us the story behind that song.
And
Just one
I
second.
felt.
Oh, there we go.
Go ahead.
Can you hear me? Yeah, I had just had my baby and I felt like wrecked. I felt like I had nothing to give. And I had come before the Lord and I just said, like, I don't know, like, do you even want me to do this anymore? Like, am I supposed to tour? Am I supposed to lead worship and write? Like, maybe that was for that season and now I'm meant to be a mom. I don't know. And I felt the Lord say to me very clearly, like, your season is not done yet. Hold tight. But I had a writing session booked with my friend John this one day, and I just felt like I had no business even coming to this writing session because I felt like I had nothing to give. And so I brought that before the Lord the night before. You know, usually when I go into a writing session, I like to come with a few ideas, like just to kind of see what sticks, see what lands, maybe nothing, maybe something, I don't know. But I had like nothing. It was the night before. And the Lord brought me to the Psalms, and he showed me who David was, a man after God's own heart. And it didn't matter what David was facing. He was depressed. He was lonely. He was filled with anxiety, whatever it was. He was being defeated all over the place. He always had this posture of praise, this posture of like thankfulness, that whatever he was facing, it didn't matter, but still I will praise you, oh God. And I felt convicted by that. And I thought, like, I want to be like David. I want to carry this posture of gratitude and this posture of praise in whatever season I am facing. And so I brought that to John the next morning, and I was really honest. I was like, listen, man, I feel wrecked. Babies do that to you. They wreck you. And he's like, it's okay. And so I told him what the Lord had like said to me, and he's like, let's go for it. Let's do that. Let's use that. And I was like, really? And that's kind of how it started.
Movement and worship, right?
That what John's with? Yeah, okay.
I'm sorry, I think my mic is coming in and out, so I apologize. John is with Movement Worship?
Mm-hmm, that's right.
Ah, awesome. No, that's a powerful song. I've seen both the video. I've heard the song on radio. It's a very powerful song.
Thank you.
It's awesome.
It's good to hear the story behind the song too. I enjoy that.
It is.
Yeah,
It
and
is.
you know
how
what?
true.
To be honest, like, to be honest with you, I felt really insecure about it when I was writing it with John, because it started just singing this like, still I will praise, and I just kept repeating that, and John was like, I love it. Let's go with it. And then I got insecure because I was like, is it too simple? Like, is it too? I don't know. Do people want more? And John had shared with me that his mom had passed away of cancer 5 years ago. And he said, when I was at my lowest and my saddest point in life, sitting at my mom's funeral, he's like, I didn't need to hear anything more than the simplest truth. And it was a really good reminder to my heart that like things don't always have to be, you know, complicated or intricate. They can be real simple sometimes. because that's what sometimes all we need.
That's
Absolutely.
true.
Yeah, that's very true indeed. I love that, the sentiment behind that, because I mean, even the basic truths can take somebody to a new level in their inspiration and to their coping with something, situations that they're going through.
So true. So I'm thinking about, like, I'm going through this. Okay, now I'm thinking of your song Pursue,
The title track, yeah.
the title track,
Yeah.
that one. Story, what's the story behind that?
Yeah.
I'm trying to compare inspirations here.
Well, the story behind that is that I was reading through Psalm 119 one night. It's like the longest chapter in like the entire Bible, by the way. I didn't know that at the time, and I was going through it, and
But you're halfway through going, no!
it's like, what was I thinking?
Why did I start this?
And yeah, I just this idea of like just pursuing the heart of God and His promises. Something about that just like hit me. It was like this new concept that I'd never heard before, but like I have heard before, you know. And I just took that and I sat. I remember exactly where I was when I started to write Pursue. I was sitting in our bedroom. We were living downtown Toronto in a little one-bedroom condo. And I don't even play the guitar, but Steve taught me like 3 chords. And I was sitting on the edge of our bed and I was playing this guitar and I just was singing with these 3 chords, singing I Pursue You over and over again. And how I finished that song really is I really just went through Psalm 119 and I kind of just like sifted through it and took pieces of it that really spoke to me. And then what I did is I took it to different translations. So I went to the Message translation, and then I went to the Passion translation, and then I went to the Voice translation, and I started to write down different lines from the different translations that were resonating with me. And that took me a while, but I think after I was able to like get it all down in front of me, I was able to like really put a song together with all these different translations, really.
Yeah, because you're getting different reference points for an inspiration when you do that. Yeah, that's a great idea.
Different keywords.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
That's right. Yeah.
So do you kind of hear kind of a trend here?
Yeah, you know, we have been talking to people about songwriting, and there's a real theme that seems to be resonating through all of the answers when it comes to this thing. There's kind of a consistency in the methodology. It's kind of neat.
Well, it's not just that. Brooke, you're basically a psalmist.
Yeah.
Your inspiration primarily comes from the Psalms, right? And being a Davida. Pursuing the heart of God.
Cool.
You know, and you know, I love the fact, I'm going to go back to a statement that you made about the simplicity. I've heard time and time again that the most effective songs are the songs that are simplest. And the reason is because more and more people can relate to them. Songs that have a simple lyric or a simple phonetic, you know, like, hey, or whatever, and they keep repeating that. People jump onto that and they just repeat it because it's easy to catch on to. And it's multilingual, right? Everyone can say eh, everyone can say oh, everyone can say hallelujah, right? But I do find that on the other side of it, as songwriters, it's so easy to think, oh, that's just way too simple, and it's just too shallow, it's not deep, and we want to get deep. And yet not everybody relates to the deep, you know? It's really an interesting trend that I've been seeing. So I'm glad your friend John encouraged you, and I hope you as songwriters are seeing that as well. And you're encouraged. If you have a simple song that's a simple lyric, don't be discouraged by that, because that may be the lyric you need to share for someone else who needs to hear that simple lyric.
And the great thing about a simple lyric is people will pick that up and sing it, and it will give them a chance to relive that song as they go out throughout their day, because they'll have those lyrics running through their mind. because they know the words, because they're not as complicated as, you know, all those fluffy words that don't really need.
The big, long. So if you notice, we're probably looking at one another. That's because we're actually in the same room. This is really kind of cool.
First time we've done this. This is so cool.
We are in the same room, and you can see by that shot there that we do have some people with us. Thank you so much for those of you who have arrived and joined us.
And
So we have
audience.
they came through the rain and the storm, and they came to join us.
That rain. I mean, it came for a little while. We thought, okay, things are getting wet, and then it just opened up.
Oh my goodness, yeah. And we're so glad you're able to make us. And for those of you who are watching us online, thank you so much for joining us. It's so awesome. For those of you who are just joining us, we're having a great conversation with Brooke Nichols about inspiration. Where do you get it? And how do you turn it into a worship song? And so far what we've learned is one way to get it is definitely go through the Bible. I mean, go through the different translations, because there are certain words that may resonate with you that may not resonate in other translations, and that may be the inspiration for your
Yeah, a
song.
key word for me is thesaurus.
Thesaurus.
I just love the thesaurus. It's my go-to. It's like, okay, I want to say happy, but not like that. Joyful. Okay, I'll use that one.
Well, and I do the same. Use.
Have you? Oh, sorry, I didn't know you were talking. I've
Respond,
lost
go
my
ahead.
ear spot.
No, that's okay. No, that's okay. I was just gonna say I use a thing called rhymezone.com, and I go through the same thing.
Rhymezone,
I want to say this thing, but in a different way. Like, so I go to rhymezone.com, and it pulls up. I type in the word I want, and it shows me a bunch of other words that I could use.
Yeah.
It's really helpful.
Perfect tool for songwriters, absolutely, and poets as well. You know, and story writers, even story writers. If you're writing a story and you're looking for a different way to say something, yeah, absolutely.
So let's talk about some tips.
Fingertips?
Finger.
Sorry.
Dale.
Sorry. My brain, it just goes all over. Okay. I'm going to say it'd be good, sorry.
Yeah, right, okay. Remember, you're an arm's length away
Yeah,
from me.
I'm
See
gonna-
like this, I can punch him if I want to.
Yeah. We did first.
Let's think about songwriters that may be watching right now. And they're hearing you. Like, you're an inspiration to a lot of songwriters right now. What would you share with those songwriters that are wanting to write songs? They want to write something that's meaningful to reach people. What are some of the words of encouragement that you would give them? And while you're doing that, I'm actually going to check online to see if there's any questions from our audience.
That's a good idea. So let's look at some tips here, Brooke.
Yeah, I think as songwriters, though, we can get in our own heads and be our worst, be our obstacle, be a roadblock to ourselves. And I would just say to, like, if you can put your insecurities aside and really just get out the thing that's in your heart, because you don't know how it's gonna change somebody else's life or affect somebody else's life. You know, and that's the one thing that I've learned is that these songs that I think that the Lord is just speaking to me, but actually he's using these songs, like he transcends time and space, and he's using these songs to, like, change and transform other people's lives and speak into their life through them. And so I believe that God wants to do that through the songwriters that are listening tonight. And so just to be brave and be bold and get that song up that's inside of you. Don't be afraid. Don't sit on it. Don't overthink it. Just get it out.
But being brave. Remember that came up in one of our subjects, being brave and just do it. And you know, you made an excellent point about being writing a song that's really intimate, maybe, and you think this is really personal, and then somebody listens to it and they can resonate with that. And that's happened to many of the writers that we've spoken to as well. They wrote a song that I don't think anyone's going to get this, but there's always people that are in the same place in life where they go, oh, that song touched me. So yeah, please, that's a great encouragement. Fantastic.
So we have an audience here.
Yes, we do.
I am wondering if anyone from our audience has any questions or any thoughts that they want to share with Brooke.
So don't all talk at once now.
They're all shy right now. They're going, what?
Spell it out.
Okay,
Yes.
we have a
Yes,
taker.
Yeah, coming out of a seminary experience, albeit brief, have you considered going through the original scriptures in the Hebrew and the
Hebrew and Greek,
Septuagint, as
Yeah,
well
yeah.
as modern translations?
Yeah. So have you ever thought about going to the original text?
No, I haven't. And that's actually such great advice. I mean, I always start in the original, like the, I mean, what version do I use here?
King James.
I use actually the ESV version. That's my English Standard Version. That's my one Bible. But then I also have another Bible here, which is the Passion Translation. But no, that's really good. I probably should go there and find some more inspiration.
That's a great idea.
Now, I don't always
Anybody else have
love
a
to, and I will say this
Sorry, go
to
ahead.
Mr. Seminary, is that I don't always pull from translations that change things too much and make it feel too abstract, because I don't want the scriptures to change. I just pull from these translations because sometimes a different word will spark something from me, if that makes any sense.
It gives you a different inspiration. Yeah, that makes sense.
Words unchanged.
So we had a question over there, sir.
Question for Brooke? If not, I'll jump in.
Okay, go ahead.
Brooke, I've actually done live sound for you before and want to know, do you think you're going to be starting to pick up on more of the live sound stuff and doing concerts again?
Oh yeah. So,
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I'm booked starting next weekend all the way until August straight. Like I'm gone. I'm not even home. So yeah, and it feels overwhelming to me that it's picked up so much. But I'm also very thankful. I'm very grateful. Life after COVID.
It needs to pick up very quickly because everybody's like, oh,
That's-
let's do this. And then all of
Yeah.
a sudden it's like went from like famine to feast.
That's right.
yeah, yes, yeah.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I have some nights of worship coming up. Lots of conferences, lots of different stuff like that. But I feel really excited. We just did a night of worship this past weekend in Sudbury, actually, and it was so special. People are so they're so hungry for the presence of God, and it was just so obvious, and it was just a really powerful night. So I'm looking forward to more of those nights.
Now you said you played a bit of guitar. You were learning those 3 chords. Did you learn more since then? And then now, what do you use when you sit down? Is it piano or keyboard, or what do you do to kind of get your melody lines?
Yeah, I did not learn more guitar. I had intentions to, I wanted to, and I just didn't. We have actually behind me, I don't know if you can see it or not, it's a vintage piano that it's kind of a newer piece in our home. And I also have a keyboard as well. So I can, I'm not actually, I'm not great at the piano. I can play and I could lead from it and I can write on it, but I cheat a lot. I use the transpose button, so I like keyboards for that.
Yeah. Well, the great thing about those instruments, like you say, as a musician, you don't have to be really strong, but that helps you pull into the melody line, because that is really the song. I mean, you can take a beat and put a melody line on it, and you have a song. You don't need to worry about what the instruments are doing. Well, depends what style of music you're doing, of course, but yeah, no, absolutely. You have your melody line. That's the most important thing.
Have you ever written songs during your tough times? As
Yes.
in, like, really difficult times?
I have, and actually, I remember when I used to write pop songs. I haven't written a song that wasn't to the Lord for many years now. But I remember too when I was writing pop songs, like, they were much easier. I didn't have to think about theology. I didn't have to think about,
Right, because
you know,
the lyrics like, oh baby, baby, dance with me, yeah, 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 baby, baby.
yeah, so, very different.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yes, I often write songs when I'm feeling, I don't know if sad's the right word, but when I feel the pressure or anxious or, you know, whatever. And I love coming to the Lord when I'm feeling like that, because it's, you know, he meets me in those moments, and my songs are really honest.
Authentic, yeah.
Authentic, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I asked that question just because sometimes in the low moments that ends up being a very strange maybe, but strong form of inspiration. Because in that dark time, that's when you really want to seek God, right? So I'm just looking for where to look here.
But yeah, though, you get the extreme emotions draw out those moments of want to express yourself. As a musician or an artist, that generally takes on that form of that expression. Yeah.
Yeah. And then there's the other side when you're super joyful.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So emotion
I'm excited because
can
I
be,
think my sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say emotion can be a form of inspiration, but I wanted you to finish your sentence.
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say my I have a new record that I'm currently working on right now, and I find that I didn't intend for it to be like this, but I find that all the songs are very praise, yeah, just very eyes turned to Jesus, so thankful for who he is and for what he's done. And that's very different for me, consider like from my past records and my past writing. Often they were, you know, laments or, you know, written in really broken times, but these ones are, like you said, like they're just more joyful, and it's really cool to see how the Lord takes us in different seasons and then brings about different songs in those seasons.
Is this album coming
Yeah,
out?
when's it due?
This fall, it'll be out this fall.
When's the baby due? I want to know.
Or are you releasing a song, like, a still part of that song, not the song, the album?
Oh, sorry, did you hear me? I said it's coming out this fall. Sorry. I think I
Oh,
might
this
have-
fall.
okay, sorry.
Oh, awesome.
I dropped for a second. Yeah, it's coming out this
I
fall.
was probably talking
still,
over you. Sorry.
No, still is not going to be on. Still is not going to be on that record, but just because I did a version with Still in the studio, and then I did a version of Still live that just came out on the weekend.
Yes. Yes.
So we thought, do we do another version of it? Like, because I recorded this
Right.
record live. This new record was all done live. So we thought that will be like the third version of it. So we're like, let's just keep it off and keep it separate. So.
Ah, okay. Well, that's exciting. Looking out for that in the fall. Looking for Brooke's new album. It'll probably be available on all
Platforms, yeah.
platforms.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Great, fantastic.
So, any other thoughts, any other tips that you would give for a songwriter besides just go ahead, just do it?
Yeah, I'd also say
Any other thoughts?
Listen to. I think it's important to listen to the things that you're saying too. I think you know, if you find yourself saying something a lot, you know, like, you know, example, you know, God has been so faithful. If that's something that you find yourself saying a lot in certain seasons in your life or whatever, pay attention to that kind of stuff. And because I would say there's a song in you. Because why are you declaring God's faithfulness so often? Like, what's happened? Well, there's a song there. There's a story there. And I think that song and story in your life will encourage and bless other people.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, pay attention to your own language.
Awesome.
Yeah, very cool.
That's awesome. I'm just looking at our list here, and I just want to give a shout out to, sorry, all these viewers that are looking in. They're calling in from Burlington, Langley, BC. I didn't say that right, did I? Langley. Langley, BC.
There you go.
Scarborough, Southern California. Where are you? Okay, I don't know where you are from, but there are people that are calling and going, "Hi, Brooke."
Can you see them waving?
Yeah, they're waving. So thank you so much for all of you that are watching right now. And I just want to encourage you, we have a few minutes left, but if you have a question for Brooke, feel free to type it in. I'm watching the chat right now. So feel free to send us a question if you'd like to do that, and we'll ask Brooke while we have her online. This is awesome. This is
I've got another
awesome.
question for you. When you were transitioning from your pursuit of being a pop artist, the whole transition of the mindset of, I know what it's like in the world, you want to, because many followers as possible, many viewers, you want to do a big venue, you want to do an arena, blah, blah, blah. Your mindset when you're standing in front of a church and you see people joining in worship, what is the satisfaction difference to you?
Oh, there's no comparison. When you're creating a space where people can encounter the living God, and he shows up and he transforms people's lives in these moments of worship, and I can sometimes physically see him doing it in people. There's just no comparison from me singing in a bar, a love song that I wrote about an ex-boyfriend or something. There's just no comparison. I'm just so thankful, honestly, that the Lord took me out of that and brought me to where he brought me today, because it's just incredible.
Blessed to have you as well.
We are. Well, I want you to, I don't think I have to tell you to do this, but definitely keep singing, keep writing, keep being an inspiration to all of us. There's not a whole lot of Brookes around, and we don't necessarily want duplicates of you because you're an original, but we hope your originality will inspire other originality amongst a lot of aspiring writers and songwriters. So thank you for everything that you do, Brooke.
Thank you. Amen to that. Thank you.
And for all those who are watching, she did give alluded to her husband being her inspiration as well. And he was on our program before. That's Steve Linsink. He's been on here. Very talented man. He's strong on the tech side, I believe, right? So that's why we pull him in for that. And we will be bringing him back in a couple weeks to talk about something in the tech realm again. So
Technical mumbo jumbo.
yeah.
He
So
talks
we
a
will
whole
be
other
bringing
language
him
than
back.
I know. Yeah.
Is that? So definitely, I'm still looking. Oh, we may have a question here. Just a second.
While you're looking for a question, I just want to thank those who are listening, watching online, GMIHub Online. Thank you so much for doing that. If you're visiting us for the first time, hit that subscribe button. Please let us know that you're out there by hitting that like button. And if you hit the notification bell, you'll know the next time we put up a video. It'd be so cool to have you in our community. And how you can do that is by going to gmihub.ca. And we have the link at the bottom. You can put your email in there, and we can send you a monthly newsletter. It'd be nice to just keep in contact with you. And you also can check us on all the platforms: Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Yeah, so we'd love to just connect with you on all of those platforms. And thank you so much for watching. God bless you.
We will be back next week talking about positions in worship, knowing what they are and how to respect them. Believe it or not, yeah. And Brooke, you might be able to comment on this, but believe it or not, there are worship teams that have, there's different positions in worship teams, even amongst just the singers, that need to be recognized and respected and brought to a place where they are, I don't know the right word, Bill.
Valued?
Well, they're valued, but they're put in the best spotlight.
Right.
So we are actually, someone actually brought that to our attention. There are worship leaders and there are song leaders. There are choir people, people that are best at background, and there are people that are
The front people.
They're
the
front
leaders,
people.
They're leader hearts.
exactly. They're just different positions just in that. Never mind the instrumentalists, right? So we're going to be talking about that next week, about the different positions, who they are, and how to respect them and how to put them in the most positive light. And following that, the following week, so that's in 2 weeks, we are going to have Tom Jackson on air with us. Tom Jackson will be sharing 5 things that you need to know before going on stage, especially when live events are starting to come back and many performers are going on the tour, right, Brooke? So we are going to have Tom Jackson come back and share his thoughts about what you need to have in place, what you need to think about, so that you can be doing your best as you do your live
I'm
performances.
so looking forward to seeing him again. He's always a wealth of information, incredible man. So looking forward to that.
That's right.
That'll be awesome.
And we already said that the third week, in 3 weeks, I said 3, we'll have Steve Linsink back on with us, talking about tech. And in 4 weeks and 5
Writing this
weeks,
down? Make sure you write this down.
yeah, basically the end of May, we are doing an artist showcase.
Yeah.
What we are doing is inviting artists, and we have invited artists, to share their original music right here online and share their story behind their original songs. And the reason we're doing this is because we want to give people a platform from which they can actually share their gifts, share their talents. Not everybody is able to go and travel right across the province or even across Canada or across the border or anywhere like that, but they can still share their gifts and their talents. So we have some artists that are coming from out west, not physically, but they're going to be phoning in. And we also have some local artists here that are going to be sharing their original talents. So we're looking forward to that. One of those, should I share who that's going to be?
Yeah, let's do that. Let's tease it. Go ahead.
Okay, you want to tease it? Okay, he wants me to tease
I
it.
think that'd be great.
So we have Rochelle Luke is going to be with us. So we have John Corbin.
Yes.
We have, I want to say, Lisa from out west. She is actually a modern day hymnist. So she's going to be with us. I haven't, and we have one more, and I've lost the name right now.
But that's okay.
Oh, I feel so bad.
We teased 3. That's great.
I teased 3. Okay.
But the great thing about this is not only do they get a chance to present their songs, but you get a chance to hear them. So it's something you don't want to miss out on. It's going to be fun to see what's going on and what they're doing, and give them an opportunity to kind of stretch their legs and to perform. So it's going to be fun. I think it's going to be a good time.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
It's a few weeks from now. It's 4 weeks from now. So
I was just trying to see if I can pull up the name real fast, but I did.
it doesn't.
Keep the suspense.
We're
Keep
good.
the
We're
suspense,
okay.
and there will be more.
Yes, there will. Actually, this is the idea. We're trying this out, and we want, if it works, if it gets a lot of traction, this is going to be a fun thing we're going to continue to do. I'm looking forward to that. And it gives the artists an opportunity to perform, and I'm really excited about that. Yeah.
That's right. That's right. And Brooke, some comments that have been coming for you. Your song still is on repeat. That's what I.
They're just looping that puppy.
Yeah, it's on repeat. It's a song that takes Lori's breath away, and to the point where she is able to surrender. So I hope that encourages you. I'm just seeing some other comments here. We have our friend from California says he has songs. Now they don't go anywhere, but he can't stop writing. So I encourage you, my friend, continue writing. But one day you may have to share those songs.
Yeah. And you know what? This is the truth. If you're a songwriter and you write 100 songs, 80, 90 of them might be awful. I'm being honest. But there's one or two dynamite, awesome diamonds so just keep writing. Just keep doing it.
Speaking of Brooke's inspiration, of Darlene Check, I think of her story about Shout to the Lord. I think you know the story right there, Brooke? Yeah. That basically she wrote a song and she said no one's going to want to hear it. And when she did actually sing it to, I think, her pastor, she sang it with her eyes closed, I think. I don't even know. She just seemed like she was afraid to sing the song, thinking it didn't make sense. And yet the Lord used that particular song to reach so many people and to take people to a new level of worship. So if her story means something, it translates to Brooke because she did the same thing. I was going to say that, and one of the things you said, Brooke, was that you had a song that you weren't too confident about. And I literally was going to say, yes, Darlene, and. So that song that you weren't confident about is probably, is actually reaching a lot of people.
Yeah, absolutely.
So thank you again for sharing your songs, sharing your talent, and for being here with us.
Yeah, what a blessing.
We hope to have you back sometime.
Thank you. Hey, I
After
just
the
want to say
CD
to
comes
that.
out.
Yes. Oh, yes. After, I just want to say something to the man who said he writes a ton of songs even though they don't go anywhere. Sometimes the Lord puts songs in our hearts, and sometimes it's just a chorus. Sometimes it could be just a line. Who knows? And it's just for. It could just be for you. It could just be to encourage your own heart, to move you forward in something, or maybe to encourage, your friend's heart. And that's the beauty of songwriting, is that it doesn't always have to go to the masses. It can just go to, one single person, or it can just live inside of you.
That's right. That's right. So be encouraged. Well, we're looking forward to having more great shows coming in the following weeks, and we hope you do tune in. If you haven't already, I know we've said it a few times, but if you haven't already, I want you to subscribe, hit the like button, and ring that bell so that you can be notified when we go live again.
I would like them to leave a comment too. Could you just say hello? I would love you guys to say hello, because I would say hello back.
Yes, that is amazing. Thank you, Lori. So thank you so much for everyone that has joined us tonight. We're going to bid you adieu, but we hope to see you next week.
Yeah, don't forget GMIHub encourages unity, community, mentorship, and talent growth, and that's what we're here to do. Thank you for joining us.
Good night.
GMIHub is accepting new songs for their 2022 Christmas compilation. To find out how to submit your song, go to www.gmihub.ca today. GMIHub Family Christmas Volume 3. Ho, 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 ho.